This question isn't hard, but it really gets to something that I feel like I say a lot in these videos, which is you have to use the answer choices to kind of know what's up with a question. So if I look at these answer choices, I can see that if I mess up the slightest multiplication, I'm going to get the wrong answer, and the wrong answer will be there as one of the answer choices. So I won't know that I'm wrong because my answer will be there. And so that's just a clue, and that tells me I really need to be careful and show my work, because the odds, or the cost of a mistake is now much higher. It's less likely I'll notice it because, the choices are kind of telling me what to care about, and I might lose a zero somewhere. It happens. So I'm just going to be extra cautious. And this is going to involve ratios. A hospital stores one type of medicine in 2 decagram containers. Based on the information given in the box above, how many 1 milligram doses are there in 1 2 decagram container? So lots of ways to think about it, but I like to focus on the rate that they're kind of hinting me to think about at the end here. So there's asking, okay, how many milligrams are in 2 decagrams? So I'm going to make it like a ratio. Okay. Well, now I know that I want to set up another ratio that's comparable, right? So I can see, okay, well, I have milligrams right here. That's good. So that's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. Great. But here's the problem. This is why showing your work on ratios questions in particular is so important. Those are not the same unit. And in order for a ratio to work, we need to be comparing similar things, right? So the same units need to be on the top and the same units need to be on the bottom. And so this is a, half right. We got milligrams on the top, but we have different units on the bottom. And that's okay. That's actually part of the process, and that's why we show our work, just to see kind of where we are. So now I would say, all right, I need to fix the grams into decagrams, right? So I now can just use another ratio and multiplication to do that. So what I want to do is say, okay, there are 10 grams in 1 decagram. And by putting it that way, right, so that's a little bit, right, that's kind of reversed. That's putting this one on top, whereas before I put the milligrams on top. And I reverse it on purpose because I want 2 things to happen. Number 1, I want to be able to cross out grams. And with any fraction, if I have something on the top and something on the bottom and they're being multiplied, or it just exists and I want to reduce it, that's division, and that lets me divide those things out. So the grams on the top and the grams on the bottom, they cancel each other out, and so now grams are gone. They're not even part of the equation anymore. The other thing it lets me do, though, is now I do have decagrams on the bottom on both sides of the equal sign. So when I have ratios on the same side of the equal sign, I want to use this top-bottom thing to cancel stuff out that I don't want. But when I have units that are on the opposite sides, or when I have ratios that are on the opposite sides of an equal sign, I want there to be consistency. I want things to be either on the top for both or on the bottom for both. So it's a little weird in that sense, but it's all just using the properties of fractions to stay organized and to get ourselves to the answer. Now I just clean up my ratio on the right side by multiplying all my numbers across. So that's going to be 1,000 times 10. So, okay, I know how to do that. I can do it with the calculator, or it's just 10,000. And then 1 times 1, that's really easy. That's just 1. And that's going to equal x over 2. And you see now I've dropped the units because I'm kind of past that part. I know what I want, and my ratio was set up correctly. So I know that x is going to give it to me. Now you could cross multiply, or in this case, because 10,000 over 1 is just 10,000, I would just multiply by 2 to cross out the 2's, right? See, I'm always using those properties of fractions, and then x is equal to 2 times 10,000, which is 20,000, and that's choice D, and that's the answer. So look, I bet that many of you could have gotten this in much less than 4 minutes like I just did. But I really like to use easy ones like this to show you kind of what I'm doing very, very quickly every time I see a question that's like it. So it would have taken me a second to recognize I've got ratios, I've got to be careful, the units are going to matter. If I mess up, I'm not going to know the difference because of these answer choices. And so all that happens really quickly. Then I do the work knowing kind of what I need to do to stay on track. And so hopefully with practice, you can do the same kinds of things. Realize what could go wrong, but also realize what you need to do to stay on the right track.